Tonight, how the region's farmers are struggling through one of Australia's worst droughts on record. And riders set out on a challenging 4-day journey on Postie bikes to raise money for people living with cancer.
This is Southern Cross News with Abby Donaldson.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a special report. As many of you know full well, much of Australia is suffering one of its worst droughts on record. And unfortunately, our region's farmers are experiencing similar devastation to their livelihoods.
Images which tell 1,000 words. The words of devastation as parts of South Australia battles through the toughest dry spell they've ever seen. Brenton Jones is a crop and livestock farmer in Dark Peak, almost 200 kilometres north of Port Lincoln, and this year he and his family could be facing their third year of no income.
30 years we've seen driest times, but never quite as sort of 2 years in a row like this.
It's probably the worst I've seen in my lifetime. Yeah, it's very dry and windy. Definitely everyone's in the same boat around here. Yeah.
I was a farmer for a long time, of course, and I don't think I've seen parts of Eyre Peninsula look this bad since 1977.
One of the toughest challenges many farmers are facing is a lack of feed for their livestock. Brenton has just 4 bales of hay left for his 2,000 sheep.
Trying to get hay from wherever you can in the state is almost becoming impossible, because there's nothing left.
Much of the state's hay has been heading east to New South Wales and Queensland, where freight subsidies have been put in place. These farmers hope the government can apply a similar assistance here.
Just something small just to show that they do care would be fantastic.
And there's hope help is on the way.
I've been speaking with the Minister for Primary Industries this week about these very things. He's well aware of the situation and he's planning to visit the Eyre Peninsula in the next couple of weeks. I'll be talking to the Minister about some options and hopefully we can come up with something.
But for now, these farmers are looking out for each other.
We quite often drive around on a weekend and we'll have a barbie and a few beers or whatever, and we'll drive around as a group of mates and talk about it, and makes you feel a bit better to know that everyone's the same.
While the region here did receive a couple of mils of rain in the last week, at this time of year, this crop that I'm standing on should be up to my knees.
Hopefully things come good and just do the best we can with our livestock and the cropping side of it. At the moment, it's hard to see where it's going to go.
Casey Trelaw, Southern Cross News.
Meantime, the drought crisis is impacting the emu population surrounding Broken Hill. More and more of the native birds have been spotted around the city, prompting warnings from a local animal welfare group.
Mobs of hungry and thirsty emus have invaded the Silver City streets.
The emus are coming in because of the drought. It's one of the worst we've had in many years.
As Broken Hill swelters through one of its driest years on record, local wildlife are starting to feel the strain. With no food or water in the outback, dozens of emus are now wandering the streets of the Silver City looking for a drink and a feed. This mob of 14 have been residing on Lamb Oval in Broken Hill South, but Rana says it's best not to be too friendly with them.
Locals shouldn't really feed them, let them try to just eat their natural foods and leave them alone as best as possible.
Emus are typically not aggressive but will defend themselves if cornered. The best advice if you see one on foot is to give it its space and don't get too close. If it does attack, stay away from its claws. It can kick forward but not back. As for motorists,
drive carefully, drive safely, drive like you see a child on the road. Slow down and just keep an eye on it.
Rana is really encouraging drivers to keep an eye out for emus at all times. The bird can move quite fast, almost clocking 50 kilometres an hour. It can run the pants off a kangaroo.
So you give them their space and they'll leave you alone.
Patrick Ryanke, Southern Cross News.
Port Lincoln police have arrested 2 teenagers after an alleged break-in at a furniture store on Tasman Terrace. Security attended the store after an alarm went off at about 3:40 this morning. 2 suspects ran from the store before police caught them a short distance away. Police say the boys were allegedly found in possession of confectionery and batteries. The local boys, aged 16 and 13, were charged with aggravated serious criminal trespass and theft. A $480 million copper mine project in Augusta on the Yorke Peninsula is one step closer to becoming a reality. Project developers Rex Minerals are in talks with overseas investors to ease the finances of the mine's startup cost.
South Australia is home to two large copper mines at Olympic Dam and Carrapateena. But within a year, development on another copper mine could begin in the state, with Rex Minerals inching closer towards its Hillside project in the Yorke Peninsula.
Rex Minerals' Hillside project is one of the largest undeveloped copper resources within Australia.
The $480 million project has garnered interest from Chinese investors who are currently conducting feasibility studies. The mine's proposed location is in the desirable agricultural area of Ardrossan and will build off existing industry in the Yorke and Mid-North regions.
It involves up to 500 jobs in the region using local employees and locally based employees. So it will help support schools, hospitals, towns.
Rex Minerals is continuing a thorough consultation process with the community, many of whom have been opposed to the idea of mining exploration on farmland. A final investment decision is expected to be made in the coming months, and pending approval from the relevant authorities, construction on the project could begin next year. Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
There'll be more junior doctors in the region from next year as part of a new state government initiative. 5 Whyalla-based interns will rotate across the EP to gain experience and help alleviate shortages in country areas.
For years, doctor numbers in regional areas have declined as demand outstrips supply. Getting more to go rural has been a challenge. The state government today has delivered a prescription, opening up 5 new first-year spots in Whyalla.
This is a key opportunity to give medical interns a taste for country life and rural practice.
The program is in partnership with the Commonwealth and Adelaide and Flinders Uni. Each new doctor will not only rotate through Whyalla, but will spend time in Port Augusta and Port Lincoln.
Gives you an opportunity to have different styles of practice. Every community has its own challenges and opportunities.
Adelaide Uni already operates a clinical school in Whyalla for student placements. School head Laurie MacArthur has welcomed the investment.
Extra pair of clinical doctors trained that will be serving.
He expects it'll be a popular program.
The well-rounded, comprehensive experiences that rural medicine can provide.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, a swimming enclosure making a splash in Wallaroo. And local riders set out on a gruelling 4-day journey on Postie bikes for a good cause. The Whyalla Council has declared its trip to China a success. CEO Chris Cowley says residents will see the benefits soon, with 2 companies expected to visit the city.
A whirlwind but exciting week for Chris Cowley. He, along with City Growth Director Christina Roberts and Economic Development Manager Eliza Bu, have returned from China. They met with a number of companies looking to invest in Australia, with the aim of luring them to the region.
The very fact that Whyalla City chose to invest and send us to China has made massive inroads in terms of the respect that we now have.
And the city could soon see the impact. Mr. Cowley says one company has lodged a development application for a solar horticultural project that'll employ up to 40 people. They're set to visit our city soon, while another company is also making plans to stop by.
2 companies who have committed that they are now going to come and visit Whyalla to see firsthand the kind of opportunities that we're espousing in China.
Councillors and the state government will soon be briefed on the trip. Mr. Cowley says we're in the sights of Chinese businesses looking to expand.
We have a stable political climate. We have a very good natural environment which they value.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
The Copper Coast Ratepayers Association is concerned about the Wallaroo swimming enclosure in Wallaroo. Council has promised reconstruction costs won't come out of the pockets of locals.
Council committed $2 million to Wallaroo, but when undertaking defect inspections, evidence emerged that there were flaws in the design.
And we ordered a facility with a 25 to 40 year design life and a 15-year warranty. And unfortunately for the contractor, they haven't delivered that.
And all of the swimming structure, apart from the two fixed landings, has all been removed.
The Ratepayers Association says the community has been kept waiting.
Here we are, well in excess of $1.5 million later, and 2 years have gone by, and what have we got? We've actually got nothing, other than 3 black floating attenuators.
Council says it's frustrated that the contractor hasn't delivered the Wallaroo swimming enclosure on time as promised. It says the contractor will now pay for all reconstruction expenses.
It's up to the contractor at their cost, and any cost of removal of the temporary, any repairs that they've done. They've spent a lot of money outside the contract, and that's all been at their cost, and any future expense will be at their cost as well.
It's hoped the revised facility will be ready for summer. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
The Civic Centre, an unfinished mural and the transfer of mining rates were hot topics at a Broken Hill community meeting. A local councillor set up the meeting to give residents more of a say on local issues,
voicing their concerns on local matters.
I think that it can be a real plus for the city.
After a string of debatable decisions from recent council meetings, Councillor Kennedy held the public forum to let locals have their say. A wide variety of motions were voted on, including encouraging more murals around town, creating a heritage festival to promote the city's history, and not supporting party politics in local government.
I mix with a wide range of different people, different organisations, sporting, social and other. I guess that when I push these things, it's easy for me because it's what I believe in.
Councillor Kennedy says he'll be taking the supported motions to future council meetings. He's not sure if they'll get up, but will aim to keep everyone informed.
But I plan to have another meeting in 3 months' time to let the community know exactly what happens with the motions that are passed tonight. And if they fail to get up, they'll be resubmitted in 3 months' time, and they'll have to fail again. And eventually, as the numbers grow in that room and they go from 50 to 100 to 200, the council will take notice.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Business Port Augusta has launched its annual Outstanding Business Awards, which promote and recognise the success of local ventures. Businesses will be striving for these coveted awards, which are now open for nomination.
A collective gathering of Port Augusta's businesses to launch the awards for the town's best and brightest. The awards are merited on what an individual or a business has achieved during the year.
Not necessarily on figures, but more so on what they've actually achieved in their growth and how they've gone about their business for that year.
For over 20 years, the awards have played an integral role in rewarding excellence amongst the local business community. Categories for the 12 awards range from individual feats like Trainee of the Year and Employer of the Year, to collective accolades like the Most Innovative Business and Most Outstanding Business.
Obviously winning this award, more people want to keep improving their businesses over the years, which is better for the community as a whole.
The awards season was launched last night, with the ceremony dated for October 19. The night featuring a speech from last year's Outstanding Business Award winner, Aaron Morgan.
You can be your own best critic or harshest critic, but when other people are sort of sitting back saying you're not too bad, well, that means a lot.
Nominations are now open. For more information, visit the Business Port Augusta website. Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
Over 70 riders from across the region are about to set out on a journey of a lifetime. They'll ride Postie bikes through the Flinders Ranges over a gruelling 4 days to raise money for people living with cancer.
Riding a Postie bike through some of the most challenging off-road terrain in the state to raise money and show support for people living with cancer.
They shouldn't go there. They don't have enough power in places, but you know, they seem to get there, and we think the people that have had cancer along the way, it's nothing compared to what they're putting themselves through.
Riders from across the globe have shown their support this year.
We've had 2 international riders, one from New Zealand, and this year we've got a doctor from the Philippines coming over too.
The ride started out with just 7 riders in 2007, but has since grown to over 70 registered.
Over 100 riders some years. We've got 73 riders currently registered for 2018. And every year we get about 20 new riders come on our rides.
Each rider has already raised hundreds of dollars and will begin the tough trek through the Flinders Ranges tomorrow.
We'd love to raise $160,000 and that will give us a total of $1 million in 12 years.
All money raised from the ride will be donated to the Copper Coast Retreats, a place devoted to helping families living with cancer create long-lasting and special memories. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
After the break, we'll have the region's fuel prices.
And more rain on the way to end the week. I'll have all the details up soon.
Prices continue to fall around the Spencer Gulf and into Broken Hill. It's green everywhere you look. Starting with unleaded, and Port Lincoln has seen a big drop. Locals are now paying around $1.48 a litre, 4 cents down from last week. In Whyalla there was a drop of a cent or so, and the same can be said for Port Pirie and also Kadina. Port Augusta has taken the honour of the cheapest prices in the Spencer Gulf, the average dropping down to $1.42. Here in Broken Hill it's still very pricey. We're paying around $1.53, but the price is on the way down. The cycle has started in Adelaide once again, with prices now up into the mid-140s. Having a look at diesel now, and it's been a good week all round. Port Lincoln is down by a cent, while Port Augusta and Whyalla both break even. Port Pirie has seen a little bit of movement and sits on 146. Kadina has gone down by just over a cent. Here in Broken Hill, things are holding steady in the high 150s. Adelaide rounds out the board, seeing next to no movement. The price is still hovering around 141. Now remember, these prices are the regional averages and they do not reflect any one particular outlet. If you happen to find a spot that does sell unleaded or diesel for cheaper, let us know on our Facebook page.
Thanks, Pat, and time now for the weather with Amy.
Thanks, Abby. Sunny conditions around the region today. Port Augusta reaching 21 degrees. Whyalla saw a top of 20. And before we go on, thank you to Jason who sent in this stunning shot of the sunset over Broken Hill. If you have a weather shot you'd like to share, you can email it to localnews@sca.com.au. Now to check the satellite, and cloud over the southeast in the wake of a cold front is bringing showers and the odd thunderstorm near the coast. If you're heading out on the waters tomorrow, northerly winds will shift northeasterly up to 33 knots, with seas reaching 1.5 metres. Those wanting to catch the sunrise, you can do that at 7:12 while it will set at 5:39. A change is going to come through tomorrow across all districts. However, temperatures will remain quite high. 25 in Port Augusta, Whyalla reaching 24. Showers look as though they'll be settling in around Port Lincoln, Cleve and Woodner, leading towards the end of the weekend. Whyalla could also see some wet weather on Sunday with a high of 16. Similar conditions for Port Augusta and Kadina after a windy Saturday. Port Pirie will also see some rain to end the weekend, a top of 15 there. Maximums in Clare will sit a few degrees cooler towards the end of the week, while Broken Hill will continue to see sunshine and tops climbing towards 20 degrees over the weekend.
And that's the local news this Wednesday. Enjoy your evening. Good night.